you know, once in a while a movie comes along that completely changes how we look at movies, both as an audience and as filmmakers. However, the movie I'm reviewing for you today, The Dark Knight Rises, is not one of them. And I've been put into a very awkward position, because I'm sure there's going to be a huge audience who are going to really enjoy this movie. And there's going to be a smaller minority who are really going to hate this movie. Unfortunately, I tip into the scales of the latter. I don't like this movie. I think this, well, if I'm blunt, I think this movie's fucking horrible. And I really can't. I'm right now. This is going to be spoiler infused. All right. Alright, if you have not seen this movie, go out, see it, come back, because I'm not here to try and talk about whether or not you should go and see it. You're gonna go see it. My opinion's not gonna change what you think, and I'm not here to try and sell you something. I'm here to talk to you as a person, as someone who has watched a movie. I like your opinions. When people don't seem to understand, I like your comments, I like your opinions, I like hearing what you have to say. And I do that after I've said my piece, because I don't want people to, people's opinions to taint mine. And this, so if you, this is going to be quite spoiler infused. This is going to be really spoiled. It's going to have a lot of spoilers. So let's start with the story, right? We start out with a broken Bruce Wayne, 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight, and his body and his mind are both broken, so to speak. And it's been 8 years. Gotham's crime has gone down to nearly zero. All the crime families have been rounded up. The corruption in the government is practically non-existent, and the streets are pretty much clear. So, there is no real need for Batman. Bruce has become a bit of a recluse, and it's, he's not needed anymore until there's something, until the appearance of Bane, who was a former member of the League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul's organisation, and has come to finish his work, which is purge Gotham of crime. Why he wants to do this when it's said by everyone that, the crime is non-existent, the corruption is gone, the seed of injustice is over, it's been purged already, it makes no sense. So we're off to a bad foot already. What I will say about this movie is, unlike The Dark Knight, this one is much more Batman orientated, whereas Heath Ledger stole The Dark Knight with his brilliant performance. This one is much more Batman focused, and I like that. I really do. It's much more Batman story. It's more about coming back, giving it your all, one last roll of the dice. As I say, his body's already broken down, his knees aren't good, he's walking around with a cane, he has to use a special knee brace in order to get around, and it's all about him coming back. And it starts off slow, builds up brilliantly in the second act. My favourite act is without a doubt the second act, and then crashes in the third act, and I really, really hate that. This movie really fell apart towards the end, and I can end. I'm about to go into spoiler territory, so if you don't want to be spoiled, click off now. All right, let's talk about what I don't like about this movie. All right, let's start with. Right, Batman's okay, right? I really like I say, Batman's done right in this movie, and I really like that, but we're not talking about what I like. Let's talk about what I don't like. Bane. First of all, let's get what I like about Bane out of the way, so I can address what doesn't work. Let's talk about what does work, then we can talk about what doesn't work. Bane is almost nailed right in this. He has presence, he's menacing, you feel like he has a plan, which was the intention. He wants to follow through with Ra's al Ghul. Why? They say that, you know, this story was based off three comic books, two of which are my favourite of all time: Nightfall, The Dark Knight Returns, and No Man's Land. Two of which my favourite of all time. I really love. They're two of my favourite. The debut of Bane and that Frank Miller graphic novel. I really love those. And I was really looking forward to seeing that transition to the big screen. And for the most part, it works. It works. And Bane has a lot of presence. You feel like he's really sort of, you know, I saw Tom Hardy and I was a bit apprehensive at first, but yeah, he's Bane in certain scenes. It really does feel like he's Bane. But you know, let's start with what I don't like, right? Let's start. Well, let's go the big issue number one, which everyone is going to want me to talk about. The fucking voice. That fucking voice. I knew it. I said it right back at university when film school. I said to all my colleagues, that voice is going to be his downfall, and it is. I can't understand. 2/3 of the time, I don't understand what the fuck he is saying. And it doesn't help that he seems to whisper most of his lines. I knew it. I knew it was going to be a problem. I said that they should have dubbed him over, and they didn't. You know, they enhanced the voice. It's so obvious they enhanced the voice to try and fix this problem, but you can't understand what he's saying. And Tom Hardy, bless him, he's trying so hard to make this work, but he needed better material. He really did. You should have dubbed him over. They should have. I don't care. I'm sorry, but if you're a villain, in order to build your villain up properly, and any character really, you've got to get the basics down. You've got to lay the foundations to build upon. You can't be intimidating if you don't know what he's saying. I mean, what would the Joker's speech been like if, you know, you'd have done, then my father came at me with a knife. He came at me and he said, "Where is Sir Simon?" You'd have laughed your ass off right out of that cinema. Heath Ledger wouldn't have got an Oscar. Alright? Let's face facts here. The voice is fucking annoying. And it really holds back what could have been a really powerful performance. And for the most part, yeah, he has a presence, but as soon as he opens his mouth, Gotham's wrecking. You know, there are some good lines. Like sometimes I hear him okay, and other times like, and then I don't know what he's saying, and that really is detracting. Catwoman, Selina Kyle. I love Selina Kyle in this movie. I really do. I mean, people are going to probably bitch she doesn't have the whip or something, you know, or the suit's a bit off or something like that. I have no problem with her. Apart from, you know, I would have liked to see the whip. You know, especially if Nolan's directing this. Nolan has a habit of reinventing these characters and, you know, making them seem realistic. I would have loved to have seen what Nolan could have done with that whip, wouldn't you? I mean, you could have made it like an electrified device, you know, wraps it around his neck and then presses a button and zapped him unconscious. It would have made sense. You know, about as much sense as a man going around dressed as a bat. And, you know, she's done pretty good. Although, you know, you got the ambiguity. She's out for herself most of the time, but there might be more to her than that. You really feel there is something to Selina Kyle in this one. Anne Hathaway does a great job portraying Selina. She's manipulative, she can be cold, but at the same time you don't know what's going on in her head. You don't know whether she's just a cold-hearted bitch or if she's just pretending to be just to get by. You know, so you don't know if she wants to do the right thing or not. Apart from later on in the movie, there's a very cliched moment where she can either leave or go back, and you know she's going to go back, you know. I think it would have been much better if it turned out that she was just a heartless bitch. That would have been so much more fun. That would have been so much more fun to do. You know, just literally the moment where she can either run or go. Fuck it, I'll go. That would have been so much better. It was so, you know, that was really cliched. Funny, but you know, you've seen it before. Now, the problem, as I was saying, now I'm going to glance over a lot of the characters because, to be honest, they are glanced over in the movie. Alfred barely gets any scenes. Jim Gordon, barely in this. Josh Blake, the emotional heart of the story, in my opinion. He's the everyman, the man you're supposed to project onto. And we can, believe it or not, we can sympathise a lot with this character. You know what he's going to become. You know what he really is. Change a few letters in the name. Tell me what he is. You know what he is. And yeah, they go that route. No surprises there. So, you've heard me bitch about the little things. Let's focus on what I really hate about this movie. What do I hate the most? What really ruined this movie for me? As I say, the first act drags a little, right? There are too many characters, for one. Too many. Far too many. No one gets enough screen time. No one gets enough time to develop, apart from Batman, which of course, he's supposed to be the focus, so yeah, I understand that. But Bane doesn't get enough scenes. You don't really get to know Bane at all. He's just there to be the muscle and to be the bad guy that Batman overcomes. And yeah, he fills his role fine. There's no way you could have lived up to Heath Ledger's performance, but at the same time, you could have at least been competent. But he doesn't get enough scenes. You don't really get to, don't get really any big scenes with Bane, apart from that one in the beginning. And I'd say maybe the stadium. But that's about it, really. Really powerful scenes like this madman can do anything, sort of thing. There's nothing you can do. He's a genius. You don't really get many with the Joker. Like in the bank heist opening where he convinces them to, turn on each other, and he pretty much, all he has to do is shoot one guy and he walks out. That's all he had to do. And, that really said to me, oh God, this guy's mad, but he's a friggin' genius. He's either incredibly lucky or incredibly well thought out, this plan. And you could believe either which, You don't get really any sense of that with Bane. And Bane is supposed to be a genius. So you don't get really any standout moments. You won't get any moments like... there are no moments like that lorry tipping over, or no moments that make you go like that. I mean, there are a couple real good moments, I suppose, like when the cops fight the inmates in the streets and stuff like that. There's, you feel like the stakes are raised at least for that, but nothing that makes you go... Nothing like that. I was really disappointed. I really wanted Nolan to top that vertical lorry, and he never really did that. But as I say, the first act drags. The second act, easily the strongest. That's when Batman is, he's broken by Bane. There's the big scene is there. My favourite scene in Nightfall, where he breaks the Bat's back. That's intact. That's all there. Loved it. He even says the line, "I will break you." And, I was saying, but I don't care how good the movie is, if that line isn't in there, I'm going to hate it. The line was in there, I don't like it anyway. And so, it's really weird. I said all the... so that's easily... The second act is the strongest. Easily. It's when Batman's trying to come back. And then, as I say, the third act is when it shits itself inside out. And I'm about to tell you why. The thing is, you learn that there was a child. Bane dumps him in the hellhole that he grew up in, and was supposedly born there. Spoilers. And that's pretty much true to the comics. Bane was born in a prison, and you get that. You totally get that. But then something really bad happens. Right? They try to tie this becomes a cardboard cutout retread of Batman Begins, with a twist that this woman, Miranda Tate, is actually the daughter of Talia, of Ra's al Ghul. She's Talia al Ghul. And that's when it falls apart for me. As she turns out that you're led to believe that this child that escaped was actually Bane. And that's where the first plot hole comes in, because they talk about this, in that entire time, it's actually stated how long Batman's in there. It's 3 months. And throughout that entire time, he's told about the child escaping, and how the child escaped. I'm really struggling with this, and this is my point. The child escaped. In the 3 months, 3 months of talking about this child escaping. Need I mention that this is the doctor who helped give birth to the child of the woman who was put in the prison. throughout the entire time, not once does he mention the child's gender. Try and do that. You can't do that. You can't. I just screwed it up, and I was trying not to tell you. He wasn't trying. It wasn't something like, if he was trying, why was he trying? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you not mention the child's name, apart from the fact that, oh, it's going to be a plot point later in the movie? That's the only reason you would not do it. It's like you read the script in advance. What's that, Elijah? Is that the script? Just like, it doesn't make sense. And it really suffers for that. That's the first plot hole. Secondly, as I said, why come back now? It turns out, as I say, she's Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, and she follows her father's footsteps to a fucking P. What do I mean by that? She's boring. She's incredibly boring as a villain. She elbows out the only interesting villain in this movie, Bane. I'm not kidding you. The second she takes over for like the last 15 minutes of the final act, I think she's even less than that, really. She's there, does the thing, gets killed. It was there for a twist. A stupid twist that didn't need to be there. And I'm not kidding. As soon as, I think like 5 minutes after she's revealed to be Talia al Ghul, Bane kicks the bucket. And I'm not even kidding. He literally gets shoved aside by Talia, and she takes over the reins as the villain for the last 5 minutes. And why? Why go down that route? Why incorporate her at all if all she's going to be is pretty much a recreation of Liam Neeson's role? Why? And Liam Neeson, I'm sorry, Ra's al Ghul, I don't know, I haven't read the comics about Ra's al Ghul, I know nothing about Ra's al Ghul. But in the movies, he's boring. He's boring as hell. I think his power is immortality or something like that. They hint at that very briefly in a cameo by Liam Neeson, that he is immortal and there are so many ways to be immortal, and that gives him the idea that it's the daughter, the child of Ra's al Ghul. And as I say, boring as hell. Ra's al Ghul was boring. His daughter is boring. I mean, for crying out loud, who'd you get to play Ra's al Ghul? Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, the man who made a Jedi warrior look like he was barely fucking awake. Liam Neeson. And she follows it to a T. She is, if they said, oh, they're father and daughter, I believe you. She's boring. And she follows her right in her father's footsteps, right down to elbowing out the only good villain in the movie. And as I say, Bane is needlessly shifted aside. And what's my problem with, maybe it would have been okay if it was good, but as I say, she's boring. She's only there for 5 minutes and then she gets killed. Spoiler. And where does this sound familiar then? So Bane is working under the thumb of another woman whose plan it is he's only there for the muscle, and he's only like a sub-thug that is there to protect her. Yeah, Batman and fucking Robin. Oh, God. Batman and Robin. I'm sorry. Bane's come nowhere. If that's all, Bane was never anybody's bitch in the comic books. He was his own man. He was the man who broke the bat. Oh, stupidly elbowed. Stupid. That was stupid. As soon as Talia al Ghul was introduced, and I'm sure this had to be some sort of lousy rewrite, because it's only then that the plot holes start to freaking show their faces. Only then, does the movie start to fall apart. And it really falls apart, guys. This really falls apart in the third act. And just, I just didn't do anything for me. The epilogue was okay, a bit rushed, but it just fell right apart. I mean, it was okay up until, and got really good. Then it crashed. It fell right through the floor, right in his face, and yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So it's just unbelievable. This, and I will say that this is definitely the last movie. They tie up that this is self-contained. This is definitely the last movie, at least to feature Bruce Wayne as Batman. if you ever wanted to continue the storyline. And it was going so well until they introduced Talia al Ghul. I'd really say this, she single-handedly destroyed the movie. Stupid. You had Bane. You didn't need Talia. You didn't need to needlessly elbow this. You didn't even need to make this about Batman Begins. You didn't need to introduce Ra's al Ghul's League of Shadows bullshit again. Because the most boring villain in the whole Batman franchise, and you brought that element back. Oh, it didn't do anything for me. Now, you may like it. If you do, good for you. If you liked it, don't hate me for hating this. Pity me, because I really wanted to like this movie. I was let down by Prometheus. I was really let down. I thought I was through being let down by movies. No, this really let me down. And I waited so long, and it was okay. That was its biggest flaw. It's just okay. And for that, it's its biggest crime. It's just okay. So I got nothing else to say. All I'm going to do is go over what I've said before. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you liked it, good for you. I'm happy. It didn't do anything for me. That's all I got to say on it. The hardest review I've ever had to do ever. Really. Because I really wanted to like this movie. I really did. And I know there's going to be people out there who really like this movie. And good for you. Good for you. Honestly, good for you. I mean it. I really do. If you like this movie, good. I'm glad you did. I'm glad that you got a satisfying movie to the Dark Knight, to the Batman franchise of the Christopher Nolan series. I'm glad that you got that. Me, I didn't feel satisfied. Maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe I'm just overly critical. Maybe I'm totally in the right, and this just didn't live up to the hype. I don't know. Please voice your opinions. Tell me in the comments below. I really want to hear what you have to say. That's all I've got to say. See you later.